I hate gift giving and receiving.
Receiving gifts is so weird. What do you say? Thank you?
This is Coffee Convos with Kail Lowry and Lindsie Chrisley.
I really want you to be in your feels, Kail.
That does not interest me whatsoever.
I feel very attacked by you.
A spirited discussion about motherhood, friendship, family, and life in the public eye.
I'm just not with the fakery anymore.
There's a fakery bakery around here.
Here's Kail and Lindsie.
This episode of Coffee Convos podcast is brought to you by Lomi by Pila. Visit lomi.com/coffeeconvos. Coffee Convos, what's up?
This is December's bonus episode for Coffee Convos podcast. Hello, everyone. I hope you fuckers are doing well.
What a day. It's raining again. It's super gloomy and just like blah today. And I'm at my office, like building, not my office at my house. Forgot my glasses, didn't get ready this morning, and I just like trucked it out the door.
So wait, how are we seeing?
I'm blind today.
Yeah, it's been super foggy here today. It's been rainy for a couple of days also. I'm kind of over it, but let me tell you what I did. So Kristen knows about this. People go by my house and I don't know if I'm being pranked or if people are just like so inconsiderate and not aware. People throw stuff in my trash can all the time and it will be like bags of dog shit, like
what?
Random stuff. Like if someone's like walking through a neighborhood or something and they like have a bag like on their leash to like pick up dog shit. There will literally be bags of dog shit in my trash can.
No. And you know what? I understand it because it's like people love dogs and also it's like maybe don't mind because it's just that, but also no. Like it's my trash. Yeah. I don't know that would I care? I don't know if I would care, but it's kind of just I find out no, it's weird.
Let me tell you why I care. So they will end up in the bottom of my garbage bin or whatever you call it, pail. They'll end up in the bottom of it and then they get smashed by trash. And then those little shit bags are like thin.
Little shit bags.
So then they'll rip and then I just have diarrhea doo-doo going on down there. So I'm like, fuck this. So Will came to drop off Elfie this morning and you know, that's got to be a very secretive exchange. And he was like, Lindsie, I know you do weird stuff, but like, why is your trash can wide open and the only one on the road? Which Kristen is probably going to get an email about in advance. But here was my thoughts. I didn't want to turn on the hose pipe outside because if I turned it on, one time Will and I did that in the wintertime. At our old house and I shit you not, I went outside and water was blowing everywhere. And because the pipes were frozen and he turned on the water, it busted a pipe in the garage. And I don't have time to fix something like that, nor do I know how to fix something like that. Frankly, I would call EMS because it would make me pass out because I wouldn't know what to do. Right. So I just had the grand idea of I'm not going to turn on my hose pipe. I'm going to leave my trash can on the road. I'm going to open the lid. I'm going to let the water rain into it. I'm going to spray some smell good shit down in there. And then I'm going to just like let it leak out and then it'll be clean. Genius. I should be on Shark Tank.
I would love to I posted yesterday, Lux's strap iPad case. And it's like when Sterling came for Thanksgiving, her girls had these strap iPads, right? Like the strap hooks on. So like when they're in TSA, the TSA line and going through security and things like that, it's just super easy with the iPads and the straps and whatever. So she sends me the link for them and I'm like, why did I not invent this for fucking Shark Tank? Like how fucking genius is something that simple, like these simple things that I didn't come up with and go on Shark Tank and make $1 million? Like where are our brains at? Okay.
Am I the only person that feels like this or is it everyone? I need you to specifically answer since you're the only one here. But have you ever seen something on Shark Tank and you're like, I already thought of that, but like you didn't get credit for it?
Yes. Oh my God. There was an app. I literally, and my friend, we're still friends, but I haven't seen him in a while because we live like 45 minutes away. Anyway, he's a contractor. And I was like, Johnny, I was like, I have this idea. And it's like, you know, those apps that you can like set up furniture in your house and like see how it fits and see how it looks.
Yeah.
I had this like app idea for something like that before I guess they were already being worked on, but I didn't know that because I had the idea. And literally probably like 6 months later, all those home design apps started coming out. And I was like, no, I literally just said that. Like I just fucking said that.
It's not like bitch stole my look. It's like bitch stole my idea. And like,
Well,
I'm upset by it.
I was just like, but I don't even know how to start an app. Like that's like one thing that I don't even know where you would begin.
Kail, let's be honest. We are professional podcasters.
Not app starters.
Bamboozlers. Divorced women.
Divorced women.
Mothers. Creating apps is not really our forte.
No, it's not.
But with that being said, I do want to update every single person as if I am an app updating them on our bonus episodes moving forward. So do you want to spill the beans or do you want me to?
You can go ahead and spill the beans.
Okay. So Kail and I got a really nice long email from Kristen like
last week.
I thought it was 2 weeks ago, but like probably last week. I believe I responded. I'm not sure if Kail has responded yet.
No, I didn't. And I
if
need
she
to.
didn't, she didn't reply all. So that's super unprofessional. But in there we had been, and privately we have been discussing the bonus episodes. And I think what we're hearing from you guys is that you really love our regular content that we put out every week.
Mm-hmm.
But the true crime is not really your forte. So
maybe it's just us that are not their forte specifically for true crime.
And that could it's
so hard.
Well be it. It is hard. I will say it's very hard to cover, and it's also very hard to prepare. The way that we do research is very different from each other. Just in general, I think it's just hard. Mm-hmm. And we just probably aren't like prepared type people like that. So in Coffee Convos fashion, I think we have decided to make some changes collectively. It was a collective decision that we will include some true crime content across all of our episodes when relevant. So like the Brian Laundrie stuff, for example, I feel like that was great to cover because it was so heavily followed. If you turned on the TV at that point, you were being exposed to it. So I do think in cases like that, it's important. We will be talking about the Casey Anthony doc a little bit later in this episode because there's a lot to say about it. And we heavily followed Casey Anthony. So I think that we can speak on it, but we're not going to be doing any more deep dives into cases. So these bonus episodes are going to be more of like, we can kind of consider it like our monthly wrap up, I guess, where we're going to take commonly asked questions that we both get, whether it be for both of us, one of us. So like Q&As, pranks, give advice that we probably shouldn't be giving, but we're going to give it to you anyway. Yeah. And all of these decisions have been made because we are listening to you guys. Kristen had posted a constructive feedback thread in the Coffee Convos Facebook group. And we want to keep that thread open and we want you guys to give us constructive feedback. I know that Kail and I have talked about this before, that we can't make every single person happy who is listening at all times. And you know, we love doing what we're doing, but also when we hear something or see something over and over again, we are also willing to make changes. So we are going to keep that thread open and are currently planning for 2023, keeping in mind also other feedback that we have gotten.
Yes. So obviously we'll still touch on some things that are true crime, like Lindsie said, but overall, like we want to make the majority happy. We know that we can't keep everybody happy at all times. And I hope you guys understand that as well. Like, so there's still going to be some things that y'all don't like, but you know, we're trying to listen to you guys to the best of our ability.
Love that for us. Love that for the kitty gang. I also just wanted to touch on as well, if you guys have not subscribed to the Telegram, I do know that there are plans for the new year for that. So just put that like on your radar that there will be things going on in there that will not be covered, talked about, anything on Coffee Convos that will be specifically for the Telegram. So if you're thinking about subscribing, I would highly recommend doing that early January.
Okay.
Are you going to sing for us?
No, that was the best I could do today. It feels like a Monday. The weather really has me in a Monday mood. So my vocals haven't been warmed up.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that. Leaf Well, let me tell you guys about the #1 telehealth provider for medical cannabis certifications. This is helping people access the medicinal benefits of cannabis from the comfort of their homes. From chronic pain to restless nights to holiday stress, cannabis can help. Leaf Well starting the holiday season early by offering 20% off your certification with promo code COFFEE, and there's a 100% money back guarantee if you aren't approved.
Stop the side effects of heavy prescription drugs. Get access to natural, non-addictive medical cannabis. Best of all, in recreational states, a medical card can save you money as much as 40% off sales tax. Get approved in minutes. Go to leafwell.com and get 20% off with promo code COFFEE at checkout. Leafwell.com, promo code COFFEE. Start living better with Leafwell. Well, speaking of, we're going to kind of roll into a little bit of Q&A. So would you like to sing us off?
Sing us off, not suck us off. Well, Q&A, I have actually like some topics from the Facebook book group. Do you want to do the Q&A first?
I think we're just going to bounce around. I think that would be a little fun,
right,
deal. Like little roulette type situation would be great. Sure, hun.
Sure, hun.
The first one is both ladies said they have evolved since day one and are more similar. What is something that the other one has taught them or the most impactful perspective that the other one has given them in their time together? I love this question.
The power and the pause thing, I know that was like more recent, but that has literally, and Kristen and Alexa have even like when we've brainstormed on how to respond to things, we literally say like Lindsay's point, power in the pause, like think about this, do not give this like fuel right away, maybe sleep on it. That one is more recent, but I think overall just trying to be more, present, cognizant and intentional with my time. And that may be like planning things out better rather than like I'm definitely still fly by the seat of my pants, but I'm also more intentional with things that I do. And I think that comes from you.
I would love to say that that's good that a little bit of that has rubbed off on you, but truly, I will say it is kind of good that it's rubbed off on you because when I first met Kail, I had never met somebody more fly by the seat of their pants ever in my life. When we first started this podcast journey in 2017, I think that I had a vision for this show and I was not willing to deviate from that vision. It was like tunnel vision. Like, this is how it needs to be. This is what we need to do. We need to be perfect at this. We need to, no noise, no distraction. We need to look the part, all of these things. And I think we are so far from that at this point. And I think just becoming more comfortable with myself, going through life experiences like divorce, stuff with my parents, stuff with my siblings, being in a relationship outside of my marriage once I was divorced has definitely played an impact on the way that I look at things now. And watching Kail like lean a little bit into my way, I have definitely leaned further, I think, into her way.
Yeah, in a good balanced way, I would say.
Agreed. I can't believe, though, honestly, I will say it still amazes me that we have been able to do this for so long.
I literally saw some of the pictures from one of our first photo shoots in Atlanta, and I sent them to the podcast group because I was like, it just feels like yesterday. It's been such a journey, and we've had so many ebbs and flows and ups and downs and all the things, but I also remember starting like yesterday.
Oh, yeah, it does. I mean, someone was telling me that we should go back and listen to some of our old episodes and listen to how far we've come from then to now. And as much as I would like to do that, I think I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I don't want to do that because I'll get secondhand embarrassment at myself. So, and I feel like I remember like our first podcast producer sitting in the hotel room with me while we were recording the first time, or maybe like, I'm pretty sure it was the first episode. And we talked about like white chili and some sort of cooking, maybe Alfredo. I remember that. And just like having them there like was comforting, but also embarrassing because I was so new to it and I didn't really know, like I was still trying to stand on my own 2 feet, like trying to figure this out. And so I was like, didn't really want them to hear me talk, but also it was like, thank you for supporting me. It was just really weird.
You know what is something that is interesting off of what you just said? I actually hate having people watch me podcast.
Yeah, it's definitely uncomfortable. Like it feels like, so like when sometimes Elijah will come to my office door and it's like clear, and I don't like that he can see me and hear me because it's like completely glass. And I'm like, I don't know what I just said. And it's such a distraction.
That is the introvertedness of my personality coming out for sure. I really thrived in the fact that I could do something media wise and still give to the fan base that, you know, followed me from Chrisley Knows Best, still give them something, but not have to appear on TV to do that. I absolutely love that aspect of it. I also will say, and then we'll move on from this, that I think that our episodes are much better when we're not in person.
Do you?
Yes. Like I love our episodes so much more when we do it this way.
Oh, so interesting. Okay. Because I do like to see you sometimes, especially like just because we can go off each other's energy. But that's really interesting. Okay.
Okay. Next question. Absolute least favorite bill to pay besides Kristen's payroll, because we've seen the Twitter debate there. So first of all, can we deep dive into the Twitter debate? Because I will say I stuck my nose into a situation that it really didn't belong, but I was just wanting to be a part. And I was like, you know what? This is kind of funny as shit. So I'm going to put a comment on here, but I really didn't really know what I was commenting on. So
I'm trying to think like, well, my car insurance is very high for reasons that we will not. My car insurance is like my mortgage payment. So probably that one.
Okay. Well, mine's different. My absolute least favorite bill to pay is for someone to cut my grass because I think it's so wasteful. Because I'm like, it's just going to grow again next week. And then you just have to come back. And like, I feel like I'm Veda off of My Girl when I say this next thing, come back in 5 to 7 days. But yeah, literally, I think it's such a wasteful bill.
You and Elijah,
it's like, it's just going to
you guys have
again.
that. Yeah, you guys have that in common because his uncle is my landscaper. And so he gets frustrated, like, why are you paying my uncle when I can do it? But he works 60, 70 hours a week. So how the fuck are you going to, he'll do it when he has time. So I can like take that one bill off. But yeah, no, that's tough. And it's really weird because like right now I probably need some lawn work done, but it's just like a weird time of year. So I won't do it.
That such a weird time of year. And also, don't you hate if you get your grass cut? This could be applicable if like your husband cut your grass or like you cut your grass and you just like hate how it looks. It's like, why did they do it like that? And it's like, okay, but I wasn't out there with a lawnmower. So like, why am I really talking?
Like, just be happy it's done. That's so funny.
You know what I thought about the other day? Speaking of lawn, remember that time I told you that I saw mine and Will's neighbor outside cutting the grass with kitchen shears?
What?
Like scissors. Remember that time?
Yes. Okay.
Okay. I almost found myself being him the other day. And I was like, you know what? That is such a hypocrite. If I do that, the hypocrisy would be so real that I couldn't even do this. I would literally have to troll myself on Instagram if I did it. But let me tell you, I have a, what do they call it? Like a wrought iron fence or whatever. Like it's like that black, I guess like aluminum fence.
Yes.
So the lawn company that cuts my grass will not get up close to the fence because they don't want to like damage the fence. So there's just like a little strand of grass that just looks like unruly hair. And so I was like, you know what, maybe I don't know how to use a weed eater or anything like that. I wouldn't even know how to crank one, frankly. So, and don't have one. So maybe I'll just take some kitchen shears out there and like cut it off. And then I was like, you know what? No, it's just gonna have to stay like that.
That would really piss me off. Yes, I understand they don't want to damage the fence, but don't they have other properties that have the same problem? They can't do that for everybody.
Yeah, it's called the entire neighborhood because we all have to have the same kind of fence.
That would really they need to figure that out.
Yeah. Trust me. Would you like to email them for us? Because please do. Can you tell me about the payroll situation that was on Twitter before we move on?
So, yes. The trolls attack me on a regular basis. And something that they've said for years is that, all my friends are on payroll, which is funny to me because not all of them are on payroll, but a lot of them that have had falling outs with have asked me for money, like my friends. And then the ones that are on payroll are like my ride or fucking dies, right? Like they just are. Kristen was helping me keep my life together before she was on payroll. And so when she actually went on payroll, like that was like a real thing. And we have never hid it. Like we've never hidden it from anyone. We've been honest about it. And so when I had a falling out with somebody, she was like, I'm not like these other people, I'm not on payroll. And so Kristen got on I think I tweeted first, like my only two friends that are legitimately and have been on payroll are Natalie and Kristen. And so we were just like trolling each other on Twitter because of that. And I just thought it was funny because she is on payroll, but she is also my friend. And if she wasn't on payroll, she'd still be my friend. So I just don't, whatever.
I don't know. It goes back to the philosophy that you have. If you have friends that can do it,
why
pay your friends because you know what mouth you're feeding.
Well, yeah. And also it's like there are, they say don't mix friends with business or don't mix family with business. And I think that is very true for some people. But Kristen and I have had a really good dynamic and, we try to keep things separate as much as possible. It works for us. And so why wouldn't I? Like if I can pay her to work from home and not have to go out and work a corporate job, especially in today's society, why wouldn't I? Same for Natalie. Like Natalie was in the corporate world. And if I can pay her the same or more, why wouldn't I?
Agreed.
And I trust them both with my life. So why the fuck wouldn't I?
1000% agree. Okay. Let's do some Facebook group stuff.
Okay. So from the Facebook, the first topic is, I have a friend in an abusive situation. Her boyfriend has 3 jobs, but never has any money. He owes her over $1,000, is behind on bills, like 3 months past due, doesn't pay rent, etc. He moved in immediately when she bought a house. The house is in her name only. He also brought his kids with them, and they stay there part of the time. He threatened her about needing to know the laws and that she wasn't going to get rid of him that easily.
He's a squatter.
Yes. She recently discovered a bag of coke in her car that he has been borrowing. I think all of his extra money has been going to cocaine. My advice was to change the locks and leave his stuff outside while he's away, set up security cameras, and call the police if he acts crazy. Have someone stay at the house while this goes down. Yeah. What would you do? She tries to talk to him and he makes excuses, sweeps everything under the rug, gaslights her, and tries to manipulate her. He is emotionally and financially abusive. It's only a matter of time before he's physically abusive, in my opinion, which is I'm saying this from me, Kail, not on here. That statistically is what the next step is. Looking for some perspective on this to make sure I give her the best advice. I really want her to get out before it's too late. So yes, she should 100% check the squatting laws in her area, because here in Delaware, I believe it's 2 weeks. So if someone stays with you for 2 weeks, they automatically basically get renter's rights. So, and Delaware is so hard to get tenants out, even for not paying. So when I was renting out my one property, she didn't pay rent for 3 months and I couldn't do anything about it. So these are things that you should definitely look into. Definitely get some like legal advice on that point. As far as the abuse goes, that's really tough because, I mean, you could give people ultimatums all day and night, and they're not going to listen.
I definitely think that she's going to have to be strategic about this because he seems like
unstable and
seems like he is a legitimate bamboozler. To know about squatters' rights and to have preemptively like thought about that concerns me. The fact that she allowed him to borrow a car and then she found cocaine in there, and he not only has brought himself to her home and moved in immediately, but also brought his kids. My question would be, is there a relationship with the mother of these kids for her to know what's going on? Because what does she think's going on? Not trying to tell you to like snitch, but also snitch. And I also would absolutely involve another person and would not approach him privately about any of this.
No, always make sure that every time you approach him, it is when there are other people around, witnesses. Document everything. Keep everything in a document of some sort. If you've had conversations about asking him to leave, if you notice things are missing, if you notice coke in the car, things like that. Also, can't you just call 911 and not 911? Can't you call the police and say he's on drugs? Because wouldn't that get him arrested?
I don't know. I will also say, I believe it is an abusive act when you're taking advantage of someone, when you're knowingly taking advantage of them and putting them in a situation that you know that they don't want to be in.
Oh, 100%.
That's my stance on that.
I agree with that. So, if anyone else wants to chime in on advice for this, we would love to share it maybe next week or in the Facebook if you want to comment on there. I'm really sorry that your friend is going through that. The second one is, I need some advice, ladies. How do you pull yourself out of a dark place mentally? I'm struggling big time right now, and I think the holiday season might be making it worse. I don't see a therapist, but I go to weekly is it Reiki?
Yeah, Reiki sessions.
But I do go to weekly Reiki sessions, and it does help me normally, but right now it's not. Any advice or input is welcome. So first of all, I think we need to definitely raise awareness around seasonal depression and like around the holidays. I don't think people talk about that as much as they should. Like, we're talking about mental health all year, but what about during the holiday season? Because that's very, very real.
I had talked about it in an earlier episode about this with Jackson's therapist sharing with me about seasonal depression and how suicide rates are significantly higher during the holiday season. I was not aware of that. That is truly something that I literally learned like a couple of weeks ago. She was telling me that she is significantly more busy during the holidays because of clients that are pretty regular, not having, just normal mental health stuff going on, but then having spikes during the holiday. And I don't know why I never thought of this.
It's definitely something that I think so many people struggle with and maybe don't talk about, because you think of the holiday season as a time where you're supposed to be happy and loving and, you think of others and giving and receiving and all of those things. But, there are people that really struggle during this time of year. So, first of all, I want to try a Reiki session. I have a friend that does that as well. How do you pull yourself out of a dark place mentally? I think just number one, acknowledging that you're in a dark place at all is a great step in the right direction. I hate to say that maybe you could get into a psychology appointment or a psychiatry appointment. I also read this on Facebook because my ex from high school passed away this summer to suicide, and his mom posted something in the group that I'm in for it, and I can read it. I don't know if it'll help, but it's worth reading. So it says depression tips, depression tips. Shower, not a bath, a shower. Use water as hot or cold as you like. Even if you don't wash, just get under the water and let it run over you for a while, even if you have to sit on the floor. Moisturize everything with the lotion you like. It doesn't matter what kind. Put on clean, comfortable clothes. Put on your favorite underwear. Drink cold water. Use ice. a little bit of mint or lemon for extra boost. Clean something, doesn't have to be anything big. Just organize like one dresser drawer, literally one thing. Wash 5 dishes, do one load, just something small. Just do one thing. Play some music to make your mood feel a little bit better. Sing to it, dance, make food. Don't just grab like a granola bar. Take the time to make a meal, even if it's just ramen. Write, go outside, take a walk. These are all like just small things that you can try. And I'm not saying do all of it, but just little things. If you can just wake up one morning and take a shower, that was something that I struggled with when I was really in a dark place, was like, I didn't even want to shower, but just getting in the shower and standing there for 20 minutes, it made me feel better. So just do these little things. And each time you do one small thing is a win. So maybe in a week, you only do one thing per day. But just trying to adjust and give yourself some grace may help.
I will definitely say that is a couple of the things that you said are coping mechanisms that I use when I find myself being sad. I dealt with it navigating through my divorce, more recently navigating through things with my parents, that you have to, even though it is so hard and it's so easy for someone to say, well, just get up and take a shower. Like someone who is actually depressed.
That's not helpful. Yeah.
That's not a helpful thing to be told, like, just get up to take a shower. It's not that hard, because it actually is hard for someone who is struggling with depression.
Yes. So much. Yes.
For me, I would find little things like what you're talking about, clean off my countertop, put in a load of laundry, fold a load of laundry, even if I'm not putting it away, to fold a load of laundry, to jump in the shower. I always feel better no matter what. Like a shower is always a go-to for me. Like
same. Yes.
Even if I'm just having a bad day, and I'm not talking depression, I'm just talking a bad day. If I get in the shower and get clean, brush my hair, even if it's on top of my head, looks crazy, put on a fresh pair of pajamas, even if you're going from pajamas to pajamas,
yep.
It will make you feel so much better.
Yes, I agree. That was like one thing especially when I was in like the thick of my depression, it was just a shower, 10 minutes of the water. And for some reason, I really like cold showers. I don't know why. Like it might start off hot, but I always end it with like cold water. I don't know why. It's just something I've been doing. Even if I didn't wash my hair, just being able to stand in the shower and put my comfortable clothes on after felt like a win. And also, I know it's part of my OCD tendency, so I should not like encourage this. But when I would clean off my counters or making sure my nightstand was cleaned off, those two little things would just make me feel better. So I definitely think like your environment has an impact on how you feel. So if your place is super cluttered, maybe you can't clean it, but maybe a loved one will come over and help. And maybe they'll help you clean it up, or maybe they'll, do it for you if they know that you're in a really bad place. Just that alone and seeing like a clutter-free area could help clear your mind.
Last thing that I'm going to say on this is leading up to my parents' sentencing, I was a complete emotional basket case, and just going from day to day, not knowing how I was going to feel the next day, worried, anxiety. I did have someone come and help me clean Friday for 4 weeks leading up to that. And that was so helpful, because I am a big believer that if your space is cluttered, your mind will be. And so it allowed me to be able to think more clearly without having to worry about all of my things just sitting around looking like a clutter bug. So
yes, 100%.
Completely unrelated, but what's your favorite sex position?
Doggy.
Every partner that you've ever been with, always doggy?
No, not every partner.
Okay. So your current favorite sex position is doggy?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I don't know, because missionary's pretty good too. It's really slept on. Missionary is the underdog.
Okay. I have actually a lot to say about missionary, because it definitely is an underdog position. It's not what someone who's trying to have like a real good time in a bedroom is gonna probably sign up for. However, I do think that if you're in the right situation with the right person, that it's a great position if the chemistry is there.
Yes, 100%. If the chemistry is there, missionary can be so good.
I think when people find themselves not wanting to do missionary with someone, that's very telling. This has just been my experience. That's very telling about where emotionally you are with that person. If you're just looking for a good time, then it's probably like hook up, just sex situation. If you find yourself never wanting to do missionary with that person.
I agree. And I definitely don't think that it needs, just because it's good, you don't have to do it all the time. But I definitely think it's an underrated position. And it's like, oh, you're not freaky if you only do missionary, which, I mean, obviously, if you only do that, it's not a good time. But yeah, with the right partner, I think it's a good one.
Okay. I guess I'll answer. I'm going to give some info. I have a short cervix, so certain positions just like aren't really my thing. Might feel a little bit too deep for me. So missionary is definitely a front runner for me. Doggy, if the mood is right. What's the legs behind the head?
Okay. Yep.
That's a favorite. Legs in a split.
The one with what?
Legs in a split.
First of all, I can do a split if I tried. I'd probably tear my muscles. But the legs behind the head one is, again, that's another one that it has to be the right partner. Because if they're too big, it fucking hurts.
Oh, legs behind the head if they're too big? I don't know if I've been in that situation.
And I would imagine if you have a short cervix, does that not hurt?
No. I mean, maybe they just know, maybe the person that's doing it just knows what he's doing.
Right. Yes. Okay.
You know? And like knows my makeup.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Okay. This is a great one because after this question, I am going to talk about the Casey Anthony doc. If you could choose one unsolved crime to know the answer to, which would it be and why? And mine is
JonBenet Ramsey. Oh, wow.
Because after watching this doc, it took the cake. Like you and I have always said JonBenet Ramsey, always. I was so invested in both, but because I was able to watch all the footage, like real time of what was going on with the Casey Anthony situation, that definitely takes the cake for me at this point, just because, not that I've given up on JonBenet, like I have not, but after watching this doc, like I need to know more.
So Casey, in my opinion, because I have only just started episode 2 of the Casey Anthony, so I don't have a whole lot to add. Most of it is just going to be you filling me in. To me, although she was acquitted, it is a case closed. Casey Anthony did it for me. You could never convince me otherwise. Leading up to this point, I do not think that her mother or her father were involved, despite what some people are saying after watching the documentary. I've seen the tweets, I've seen TikToks, I've seen a lot. And so for me, the JonBenet Ramsey case is more of like they all in the house, they all know who did it, but we don't know, you know? And so I know to some degree the mother, the brother, the father were involved to some degree. They know what happened to her. But I don't, whereas like the Casey Anthony, Casey fucking did it, you know? So it's no secret that I have a lot of children, which means a lot of waste. And so sometimes it's been a little bit of a struggle to try composting, but I've been able to do it now thanks to Lomi. And Kristen, you need one of these.
I have been seeing yours when you keep sending me texts and stuff about it, and it's really intriguing to me. And I feel like I'm going to end up having to get one. So please tell me like everything about it.
You literally will go from like 3 bags of trash to 1. And so even on my weeks when I have all my children, I am having way less trash. And it's great knowing that I can compost. Like I feel like it's creating soil instead of waste. And when you have as many kids as I do, you have to take pride in things like that. So I am encouraging all of our listeners and you, Kristen, if you guys want to start making a positive impact, environmental impact, if you will, or just make cleanup after dinner. I know that you like to host a lot. This will make it way easier. Lomi is perfect for you guys. Head to lomi.com/coffeecombos and use the promo code coffeecombos to get $50 off your Lomi. That's $50 when you head to lomi.com/coffeecombos and use promo code coffeecombos at checkout. Food waste is gross. Lomi is your solution. And with the holidays just around the corner, Lomi will make the perfect gift for someone on your shopping list.
Okay, well, I have a lot to say. If you guys have not watched the new documentary, it's called Where the Truth Lies. It's a 3-part original documentary series. It's streaming on Peacock. Each part is about an hour long and uncovers the complete details behind the murder of 3-year-old Kaylee Anthony. The episodes do mostly feature Casey Anthony, who was the mother of Kaylee and also the prime suspect in the controversial trial. That trial was dubbed trial of the century. And honestly, probably I would venture out to say that every living room in America at some point during this trial had it on their TVs. Casey Anthony, that is one case that leaves more questions than there have been answers. No matter how many documentaries, the trial, her being like the most hated woman ever, still there are so many things that have not been answered and so many things that we want answers to. These documentaries over time have tried to fill in gaps. And I truly believe that Casey Anthony is a huge mystery of a person.
She's the most delusional, pathological liar. Like, she truly, just from episode 1, she believes her own fucking lies. I cannot with her. She is truly a mystery of a person. And she thinks she's taking accountability for lying in episode 1. And I was so infuriated by that because she thinks that this is going to get her some sort of pass. And that was infuriating to me.
So I was already skeptical of this because Kail and I have actually talked before about, not reading any book or anything like that she would potentially get proceeds from, watching anything that she would be being paid to do because it's putting money in the pockets of someone who committed such a heinous crime. For this to be the first time that she has participated in something like this in 13 years, and 11 years after her acquittal, to me, that in itself is questionable because I can understand the risk for safety and concern for her general well-being with as many people that hated her and frankly wanted her dead. But at the same time, 13 years seems like a very long time.
That sounds like, and why now? Like, and do people not still hate her? Because I feel like people should still hate her.
I don't hate anyone, but when I'm watching this, she literally makes my stomach turn. This case was dubbed one of the first social media trials of the century, which is just like crazy. I honestly can't believe that it's been so long since this went on because it also seems like yesterday to me. And I will say the things that stuck out to me that were so questionable on her part throughout the whole thing. It was questionable while it was going on during the trial, and it's questionable now. If you didn't do something, and as a mother, I'm speaking from a perspective of a mother, if your child had been missing for that many days, I don't care what you're saying that your father told you. I would be trying to get help because that is my baby, period.
She wasn't going to report Kaylee missing even that day. It was her mom that did it.
So the 911 calls have always been questionable to me. Casey's repeated lies to law enforcement, her child abuse, which I will say, out of anything that she has said, I do believe her on that. I do believe that she was abused because some of her behaviors to me are reflective of that. I think that because of the state that she was in, and possible child abuse from the time, what did she say? She was 8 years old or something? I forget
Yes.
how old she said.
Well,
but
from her dad, it was like 8 to 12, and then it just randomly stopped. And then her brother took over.
I will say, I do believe that if that was actually what was going on, that could have a huge part in her compulsive and strange behaviors. Not that that excuses her from anything. I'm just saying that I don't want to overlook that. And the insight that the documentary gives about an abused person, I feel like was executed very well. The biggest revelation to me in this documentary, though, was the blame shift that Casey placed onto George Anthony.
Because here's my theory on that. If she were to blame someone else for abusing her or raping her or doing any of these things, whoever it was, one could come back and fight those allegations, and it's not true. So they'd probably have a defamation case. There's so many things that could be found out, where as her dad, her own father, is probably not going to want to see his, yes, even though she's accusing him of these things, he doesn't want to see her suffer even more, because at the end of the day, that is still his daughter. So I think she knows that her father's love is unconditional for her, clearly, that she knows that she can put the blame on him. Well,
I will say that none of us know what goes on in each other's households. Anything could be going on behind closed doors and none of us would know, right? As horrific as the allegations were against George, and like I said, I do believe her to an extent on this. I do not think it relates to Kaylee's death, and her entire focus was on this, and it's the tree branch that she hung from the entire documentary.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And so to me, that's questionable in itself. Although I do think that George had very questionable things about him as well that can't be dismissed. His speech at the funeral, which you'll see in maybe the third part, I think. He was the prosecutor's main witness. He was an ex-cop, so he knew how to act. And when you watch the footage of him talking to police, to me, it was very manipulative in the way that he was talking, because he knew how to answer the questions and he knew exactly what to say to make them ask certain questions to him. Also, the disposal of the family animals, and the way that George disposed them was with garbage bag and duct tape, which was the same as Kaylee. And, that is questionable because of the similarity, but also this is something that Casey knew as well. So if that's something that she saw her whole life that he was doing, who's to say that she just didn't mimic that?
What she's
action,
seen, right? Like what she's seen her dad do.
I think it's fair to say that George should not only not be given an award for Dad of the Year or Husband of the Year for that matter. I just don't believe, after watching it, it did cause me to question. I will say, as I was watching it, I was like, wait a minute, maybe, this.
But
overall,
do you
I
think?
don't think he did it.
Okay, I was going to say, because if he did do it, do you think that the mom knew and she put on a show when she called 911?
No, I don't.
That seemed very real to me.
Yes, agreed. I will say that many parts of this documentary overall were very painful to watch. Casey's demeanor throughout the entire thing was painful for me to watch. The context and the things that were discussed were horrifying. I do think that this documentary gave Casey free reign to build her own narrative, as well as having the freedom to support, create, add, manipulate, whenever, whatever, however she chose to. And we all need to remember that there's always two sides of a story and the truth lies somewhere in the middle. I do believe that there was some involvement with George and he knew more than what he ever let on. And I do believe that every family member lied to law enforcement at some point. And I believe that the mom, to me, I believe there's a very strange thing going on there. And it almost made me, I don't want to diagnose anything, but like Stockholm syndrome vibes. Like she was this woman who went to a job and provided for her family and turned a blind eye to things that she might have known, even though she knew they were wrong. She wasn't doing anything to, prevent them from happening. And if she didn't acknowledge the fact that she saw it, then it like didn't happen vibes is what I got from her. Yeah, I don't know. There's something about the mom though.
There is. I agree with that. Like I said, I've only watched the first episode, but just thinking back to the entire case, I remember she recanted saying that it smelled like a dead body in Casey's car. So I definitely think that there's something weird. Maybe it's just that they also believe that Casey killed Kaylee and they have to come to terms with it, but it is their daughter kind of thing. I'm not sure about George. I'll let you know my thoughts once I complete the whole series. But the recanting of the dead body thing, knowing everything they know now. Also in episode 1, the former best friend really fucking pissed me off because in the same breath, she's saying Casey was a good mom. Never in a million years would she have killed her daughter. She was such a good mom, such this, such that. But I think her exact words were, Casey did what she always does. She lied all the time. So how do you say that she's all of these things? There's no fucking way she killed her daughter, but that she has lied as long as you've known her.
Well, I believe one of the officers said in the documentary that just because you're a liar, it doesn't make you a murderer when talking about George. But at the same time, that same officer said Casey lied about all of these things. It would make sense. The finger would need to be pointed at no one else because logically it makes sense that she's the one who did it. It can't just apply to one person and not another. At the point that multiple people are lying to law enforcement regarding something, to me, at that point, everybody's a suspect until you're not.
The whole thing. I'm going to finish it today. I've been so frustrated by the whole thing. The fact that Casey has roommates, the fact that she's been employed, the fact that Casey Anthony killed her fucking daughter. I don't care what anyone says. And she's just going about her life as if nothing happened. And there are good fucking people out there that are struggling and can't find a roommate and can't pay their bills and are unemployed that are trying to get a job. But Casey Anthony is fully taken care of.
Agree on that as well. Last question that I want to ask you. Do we think that she's a psychopath or a sociopath?
I think she's both.
You do?
Yeah.
I found this chart that identifies key things that what are like characteristics of a psychopath and characteristics of a sociopath. And I'm going to make sure that when this episode airs that I post that chart and would love to know if you guys think that she's both or if she's just one.
So can I read like what some of the differences are?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So a sociopath, they make it clear that they don't care about someone else and how they feel. They can't maintain a regular work or family life. They can form emotional attachments, but it's difficult. They behave in hot-headed and impulsive ways, prone to fits of anger and rage. They recognize what they're doing, but rationalize their behavior. So I feel like some of those can fit Casey. And then psychopath, pretend to care, which is her in this, display cold-hearted behavior. Again, when she gets on the phone with 911, when her mom calls and, they're like, she's been gone for 31 days. She's so calm, cool, and collected and does not give a fuck. fail to recognize other people's distress, have relationships that are shallow and fake, maintain a normal life as a cover for criminal activity. For 31 days, the roommate said that she never acted like anything was wrong. Mm-hmm. And then failed to form genuine emotional attachments. I definitely think that she falls more under psychopath, but she does have, I don't know if you can be both. Can you be a sociopath and
tendencies? You know what? That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. I'm sure somebody who's listening can tell us. But I do think that she has characteristics of both.
Yeah, definitely.
So I would love to know what people think. And also if anyone who's listening who can let us know if you can be a psychopath while also a sociopath.
I also have therapy tomorrow, so I can ask.
Oh yeah, please do that. Let's do foul play.
Okay. Foul play, everybody. I had a best friend growing up. We will call her Brittany. We spent We spent every waking moment together. Anyway, one weekend she spent the night at my house and we would always sleep on the couches in the living room. I had just gotten a new puppy who we were crate training at the time. He was whining to get out of his crate, so we let him out and ended up sleeping with Brittany. When we woke up the next morning, Brittany was gagging and dry heaving. Oh God. She had the longest and most beautiful blonde hair at the time, and I guess the puppy ended up shitting in her hair and she rolled and slept in it. So by the morning, it was dried up shit patty smashed into her beautiful hair. My mom had to try to pick it out and wash it while I was dying laughing at my bestie. And she was about to throw up all over the place. We were about 11 and 10 at the time and are now in our 30s and still talk about it. One of the funniest stories we tell. Love you ladies so much. I would fucking vomit everywhere.
Okay, let me tell you this story that is literally, I probably was 9 or 10 at the time. Very similar story. We had these weenie dog puppies and it was also crying at night. So I put it in the bed I was having a sleepover. My best friend was over, put it in the bed. We went to bed, both woke up, and that dog decided to piss on both of our pillows. So like, I wonder how common that this actually happens with new puppies. You know what? Honestly, nothing is worse than waking up. I don't care if you're 10 or 11 or if you're 33 like me and you wake up and you see vomit next to you because your dog decided that they were going to eat something that they probably shouldn't have eaten. Nothing's worse, but I can tell you right now, if I had a dried up shit patty that was in my hair and I woke up, if I was 10 or if I was 33, I'm pissed.
Oh my God. Actually, last night I went to get in my bed and I have a white comforter, white sheets, white pillowcases, everything's white. But I have like a fleece blanket that I got from Target that I put under my comforter. I go get in my bed, I'm taking all my supplements and I go to pull my white comforter over me and there's just mud and it just smells like pure dog, which means that one of my dogs was in my bed when I wasn't in the room. I was just irritated at that, like just so pissed off because I was like, this is bedtime. Like, I don't have time to like wash this right now.
My God.
So if it was like piss or shit or vomit, I would just I would have just thrown up. I would have went and slept with Lux.
We've all actually done that when like there's something that's like on your bed or something and you're like, you know what? It's not important for me to take care of that right now. I'll just go sleep with my kid.
Yeah, fuck it. I'm not dealing with this right now. You know
what? Specifically, I do that if I have washed my sheets. We've talked about how long it takes me to wash bedding. So if I do that and everything's not done, it might get like 2 hours before bed. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Like I'm specifically sleeping with Jackson tonight because that me struggling and breaking a sweat to get those sheets and shit on, not happening tonight. So
not happening tonight.
Not tonight. Okay. Hey, ladies, not sure if this is the best way to share a foul play, but I do have a good story for y'all. Shortly after college, I was dating this guy. We were partying at his house, and let's just say I got a bit tipsy. Anyway, we went to go to bed, to do all the things, but first he had to pee. Tell us more. When I was waiting in the bed for him, I felt vomit coming up my throat and to my mouth, and I was too dizzy to get up. So I just puked off the side of the bed between the wall and the bed.
Oh no, not between the wall and the bed.
He came back and we proceeded to do things.
Oh my God.
Okay. I gotta pause. He came back and you had vomit breath and y'all continued to do things. Like, I'm scared for you.
Absolutely not.
I am scared for him. She then says, after, I never talked to him again and have no idea if he ever figured out that it was me who did that. So mortifying, but thankfully those party days are far behind me. Love you ladies and hope this gives you a good laugh. And for obvious reasons, don't share my name. He would never do such a thing.
Never. But he had to have smelled it. But maybe he was drinking too. So he probably found it after the fact. Like, he was like, where's that smell coming from?
But like, if you were kissing someone and you just threw up.
Surely he had to be drunk too, because otherwise that would have been probably not great.
And I also want to know, like, did she just like wait for him to get back in the bed and like you didn't go and like rinse your mouth out? Like maybe find like mouthwash in his bathroom?
She was tipsy.
I don't care if you are tipsy or if you literally have the flu. Honey, if I had my man coming home even from work and no, absolutely not. Like, even if he was just going to do a pass by, like, I am minimum showering, brushing my hair, and brushing my teeth. No questions asked. I am so weird about that kind of shit.
Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely not. So I do need to know that. Also, I hope at this point he has found the vomit between the bed and the wall, because that's just unfortunate. Also,
he's a man, so I wouldn't put it past him if he hasn't.
Okay. Is Kristen there? Are we going to do the last foul play, or are we done? Okay.
Hey, ladies, I heard y'all wanted stories of getting caught while drunk, and boy, do I got one for you. It was New Year's Eve, and I was already a couple of drinks in, so when I confidently thought it would be a good idea to try to challenge my 40-something-year-old uncle to drinking some mixed drinks with tequila, I don't think I even made it to midnight when my brother decided it was a good time to take me and my slightly intoxicated boyfriend back to my mom's house. On the car ride home, I couldn't contain myself and projectile vomited everywhere. So we get home and they take me to the bathroom, where I disgustingly lay my face in the toilet and spend some time there. My brother ends up leaving back to my uncle's house in a different vehicle after my boyfriend told him he would take care of me. The room we were staying in is right across the bathroom, so my boyfriend lays down and watches me from the room, and that dickhead ends up falling asleep, of course, as men do. Hours later, still with my face in the toilet, I get awakened by my mother asking me what the hell I'm doing. I do my best at explaining and ask her how she knew to come downstairs, as we were not making any noise. So I didn't think we had woken her up. She proceeds to tell me that my dog took it upon himself to go up to my mom's room, where he's not allowed, and nudge her until she woke up. Since he's not allowed up there, she thought it was weird, and I would have let him go. So he led her downstairs, and that's where she found me with my face in the toilet. So my dog straight up snitched on me. Fuck you for that one, Milo. Anyway, hope you got a good laugh out of that. Thanks for reading this. First of all, that's kind of amazing. Like, yeah, fuck you, Milo, for that. But like, also, dogs are so intuitive. Like, they know when something is wrong.
Literally, I was going to say, I have heard people say that like dogs can smell sickness, like they're very instinctual animals. So if there's like trouble or fire or whatever, that dogs will like be alerted before a human. I'm not sure about Georgia. I think she would just continue sitting there and not care. Maybe it's just some dogs. I will say though, every person who has been to college has had a moment like this before. I can just say a drinking moment like this, involved moment like this with your parents, absolutely not. And if my parents ever saw me projectile vomiting or throwing up from drinking, I think that they probably would take videos of that and then harass me with it for the rest of forever, to tell me about how stupid I am. So I'm glad that that was not me and that is you. But we have all had a messy night with tequila, I'm pretty sure.
Not me. I've never.
What?
I've never had a messy night with tequila in my life.
Oh, well, you should thank your lucky stars, Kail and Lowry.
Susie. Susie, thank you so much for traumatizing me enough to never have to go through that myself. Amen.
You were so traumatized. You were like, I am not going to do this. And you know what? That's a funny thing about you, that you only drink things that you like the taste of.
Yes, I will not drink something if I can taste liquor. So if you can taste it, I will not be drinking it ever.
But also I will say, and this is the last thing that I'll say and then I'll shut up. I think that drinking is an acquired taste. So
yes,
you have to like learn what you like, and you might actually end up loving something that you didn't like the first time you tried it.
It definitely is acquired. Beer as well.
Yeah, I haven't really acquired that taste yet. But on that note, if you guys have not subscribed to the show, you can do that from any podcast app, always first on Podcast One. And if you have not followed us on Instagram, make sure you follow us over there at Coffee Convos Podcast. Hope you guys have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.
See ya.